The work gains value because of you, because of the fact that you give value to your worth, because you have dignity. Today's topic is quite an important one, I believe, which is that of dignity. What does it mean to be or be a person with dignity, who stands out, who has value and worth to share with others? Now, this is a very important question because we all need to get in touch with our dignity. Now, dignity is what is in the core, very core of ourselves. All the essence, all the worth, all the value that you have, which is absolutely invaluable, priceless, is inside yourself. The point is, how do you intend to pull it out? Unfortunately, there are quite misconceptions about what dignity is. Sometimes it's confused with respect. Oh, there's a huge difference between dignity and respect. You see, respect in a society is a must. I mean, can you imagine in a society, starting from our family, all the way up to the government, so even more, or in companies, whatever. Can you imagine if people treated each other without respect? It would be chaos, and we couldn't even talk about society. So respect is due. You don't have to do anything. It's a given. It's a free meal. You don't have to do anything to have respect. And still, there are people that do not give respect, and people who do not deserve respect. But still, most of the people, I would say 95% of the people, treat each other with some degree of respect. Not dignity. Dignity is not a given. It's not something that you can expect people to give you or even want people to recognize in yourself. You have to earn it. And the only way to earn it is to go down to that core that I was talking about before and find out what should be recognized as being a very dignified person with strong dignity, with strong morals, and not only that, as we said. So I remember years ago, the Pope in one of his travels said to the people this phrase here in Italy: "There is no dignity without work." Now, with all due respect, of course, that I believe is totally wrong, because there is nothing outside of you that can give you dignity. Nothing. Not work, not people, nothing. You must find it in yourself. You give value to what is outside, not the opposite. When you are in full contact with your dignity, then whatever you do, whatever you think, has worth, has value, and people recognize that value. Now, if he had said there is no work without dignity, then I would have agreed. Because if you do not give value to your work, what are you giving? Nothing. The work gains value because of you, because of the fact that you give value to your worth, because you have dignity, and you will not take any less than that. And because nothing outside can give you dignity, nobody can take it away from you. That's a very important aspect. There are some people that will want to take away the dignity from you because of jealousy, because of hate. I don't know for that reason. But there are people who really want to tear dignity from you. Absolutely. But of course, if you do not like them, they can't. And there is a price for that. We have seen people getting hurt badly and even die because they did not want to give up on their dignity. Not too many will do that. But that's how strongly you feel about your dignity. Because you know that you are that dignity. And if people take away dignity from you, what's left. Then you are other people's, they can do anything they want with you, they can trample you, whatever. They can treat you like shit if you do not have dignity. And once people have tasted, have really gotten in touch with dignity, they will never, ever give up on that, even if that means giving their lives. How it happens, in fact. So, how can you grow in dignity? How can you become more dignified? The first thing is consistency. This is by far the most important. What is consistency? Consistency is that you are consistent with what you think and what you do. Okay? Now, that does not mean that you cannot change your mind you. But you change your mind or you change position because something outside has changed. For example, let's make an example that you can be familiar with, which is politics. Okay? Whether you're left wing or right wing, let's say you've always voted right wing. Okay? And because you felt aligned. In other words, the values of the right wing parties are very much in touch with what you value yourself. And so you've always voted for the right. But then somebody comes up and changes that. You will still say that they are right wing, but in fact uh, fooling people that they were going to continue to transmit those values. Instead, they changed them because of opportunity, because they felt they would get more votes. Who knows? So that's what you have to be careful of, because at that point, are you going to be faithful to that party, or are you going to stick with the principles and values that that party does no longer represent? So you can change, of course, but you don't change what you are. That's what it means to be consistent. And when people see that you are consistent as a person in what you believe in, what is important for you, what you give value to, they will trust you. The other thing is integrity, which is, it has something to do with consistency, but it's not quite the same. You see, integrity is something that is just about you. Well, whereas consistency is you vis-a-vis what goes on out there. And here, integrity is just yourself. Now, we are made up of many levels, many dimensions. We have a mental dimension, an emotional dimension, a physical dimension, etc., spiritual dimension. Now, having integrity means being whole, being one block. In other words, what you think, what you say, what you feel, what you do are all perfectly aligned. Now, when you are corrupted, you cannot have integrity. It's very simple. Because what is corruption about? Corruption is about giving you money so that you will do something that you would not normally do, because that's not something you would believe in. So I'm giving you money to force your value system. If you accept, that is corruption. Now, corruption comes from the Latin word corrompere, which means corrompere in Latin, even in Italian, it means to break. In other words, you break this wholeness that you have. You're no longer whole. It's a decision that you make about how strongly you feel about the things that you believe in. That is what integrity is all about. And say, no, I will not break. I'm a whole, I'm one thing. And the other thing is trust. Of course, if you are consistent, if you're integral, how can there not be trust? So, but you still have to show that. Now, people, as I said, if you're integral and you're consistent, it'll be automatic, almost. But at the same time, you have to prove that, and that's what trust is all about. Why? Because trust has one component more than all of these things. You see, you don't have to be a good professional from the point of view of knowledge, of competence, experience, whatever, which makes a profession. It doesn't necessarily mean you don't need that. to be integral, and to be consistent. You don't have to be good at your job. But when trust comes in, yes, you have to be. Okay, because I come to you because I trust that you know what you're doing, right? I trust that you know what you're talking about. So, okay, you're a good man. Oh, great, fine. That's cool. But you also need to trust that that person knows that, you know, perhaps, there is no 100% success for anybody. And but at least you have a high percentage of people that have come to you for your professional advices, for counselor or coach or whatever, or manager, that you have quite a good degree of quite good degrees of success. Responsibility is another important factor. You have to own your life. You have to know what you do. You have to own the mistakes you make. Because if you don't do that, people will not trust you. I mean, how can somebody trust you if whatever happens that does not depend on you, okay, you're going to blame everybody but yourself because of perhaps miscalculation. Who knows? You probably made the wrong decision because of some miscalculations. That happens. You own it. It's nobody else's fault. Because if worth is what makes dignity, you know that you can either fix the situation, or if you cannot fix it, you will still find other opportunities. You will find other ways to get back on track. But that is possible only if you own what happened. Because if you don't, you're gonna feel powerless. I didn't cause this. This came to me. Sure, yeah. So what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna take responsibility for that anyway, or are you going to lie? See, this is what happens. This is how people see you on these decisions that you make. And of course, the last thing that I would think is important is service. Service is very important because that's what it's all about. I mean, dignity is not a medal that you put in your chest. I won awards, I won this, I won that. Yeah. And what are you going to do with that? So that's where service comes in. And service comes in where you can give your best to people. That's perhaps why you got all this. And people know that you're there for them. Now that doesn't mean that you work for cheap money, or you make good money. It's got nothing to do with that. It's not about the money. Of course, you can ask for high money. As a matter of fact, if your dignity is strong, people will want to pay you because they know that if you have, self-worth, such a strong self-worth, you're not gonna just settle for peanuts. They'll know you want money. But that doesn't mean that you just get the money and that's it. You're going to serve these people, whether you invest a lot of money or very little. That doesn't change. So might as well ask for money. So just show your dignity. You have it, it's in you. If you can follow these 5 steps: consistency, integrity, responsibility, trust, service, you will do well, for sure. Your dignity will get stronger. You'll get stronger. And you'll perform a whole lot better. See you next time.